As the story grows, I'm Brent Patton. Today we welcome Keith Freeman, bassist for hardcore band Restraining Order, to the podcast. The new Restraining Order album, Future Fortune, is out next Friday, September 12th, on Blue Grape Music. Keith talks about his experience in the New England hardcore scene, becoming a bass player, the genesis for Restraining Order, the shift in visual aesthetic with the new album, and more. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of As the Story Grows. If this is your first time checking out the podcast, thank you so much. Welcome. You can find links in our show notes or at asthestorygrows.com for our podcast mailing list, our community on Discord, and our Patreon page where you can support the show financially and get early access to every episode. Enjoy today's conversation with Keith Freeman from Restraining Order. You're up in Springfield, Mass?
Yes, I am actually. Springfield, Mass.
Yeah. Your Bandcamp says West Springfield. Is there a difference? Is there like some defining line between West and East? Is there a beef you guys have?
No, so we used to practice in a place we called Gate 4, which is in West Springfield. Our drummer would also, it was his space. He recorded, it was like basically a practice space.
Okay.
So when we first started, and actually the first 2 records we did was all in that room, and that was located in West Springfield. So when the band first started, we just said we were from West Springfield. But it is 2 separate cities. Like Springfield is a city, and West Springfield. Gotcha.
That's cool. Did you grow up roughly in that area?
Yeah, born and raised Springfield all my life. Springfield, Holyoke. Right now I actually live in Westfield, which is... There's Springfield, then West Springfield, and then Westfield.
Nice.
And I live in Westfield now, but I work in Springfield, which is where I am right now.
Nice. I know, obviously Massachusetts, Boston, that whole area has this, massive heavy music lore, right? You know, that scene exploded in the 90s. What was it like for you kind of growing up and being in music, whether you're into hardcore punk at a young age or even right now being in a band? Is it still a rich place to be a band in hardcore?
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty spoiled being from Massachusetts. I'm about an hour and a half from Boston, but that's such an easy drive.
Right.
So when I first got into hardcore, we'd go to Boston for all the cool tours, big shows. But different parts of Mass always had different things going on. And like you said, 90s and early 2000s, there was a lot of metalcore type stuff, Kill Switches from Here, All That Remains, the Casey Strain, stuff like that. So like I said, I was very spoiled. I can just go 20 minutes to a show if I wanted to. And now it's everybody's more spread out. It's not just Massachusetts, it's Connecticut, Rhode Island, even New Hampshire. And it's all essentially the same scene. There's different people that live those areas, but everybody kind of travels to one another. We see the same faces at shows and
the New England scene is its own whole pocket, and it's so easy to get from place to place up there. I mean, maybe not Massachusetts but if you're New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Maine, you can kind of bounce around pretty easily.
A couple hours,
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Yeah. What was your kind of gateway into hardcore punk? When did you discover hardcore?
So I was kind of a late bloomer. For me, it was senior year of high school. I was already kind of into what I thought was hardcore at the time, which is the MTV metalcore type stuff that was very accessible at the time. So I would look up, I remember specifically Pure Volume, 2000, probably early 2006. I looked up hardcore, the term hardcore in our area, and I remember 2 distinct things. I remember seeing Bane like a picture of Bane being like from Worcester, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I remember a kid in my high school had one of those like Bane zip up hoodies with the BA.
Yeah.
Like I would see those all the time actually.
Yeah.
And but there was a local band here called Chuck Brunswick that was playing a town over. So I remember my grandmother dropped me off because I wasn't driving at the time, and I just went by myself, and that was my first show, and I was kind of hooked.
That's cool. It's cool that like metal, like whatever anybody's thoughts on like the manufacturedness of the metalcore MySpace scene was, like it's cool that led a whole generation to heavy music in the same way like Linkin Park and nu metal did before that. Like when I got into hardcore, that shit wasn't available anywhere.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Linkin Park because that's kind of how I got into aggressive music to begin with. Yeah, back in middle school.
It's so many people's gateway bands. The first time they hear Chester scream, and it's like their mind melts. And
then like the hip hop behind it with Mike Shinoda, I'm just like, what is going on? This is crazy.
Yeah. Were you already playing bass, or did that come kind of from, I don't know, wanting to be in a band and needing something to do, or were you a guitar player?
All right. So in 2006, when I got into hardcore and I saw bands doing it up there, and I'm like, these are like people my age. Like, I want to do this. So I immediately got a guitar, but I didn't know anything. So I got like one of those like first act guitars from Walmart. Terrible. Anybody watching, listening, don't ever do that. Just like find anything better as a starter guitar than that.
Mm-hmm.
But I started with that, and I eventually bought like some Schecter guitar on eBay because I got it for like $130, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's like probably like late 2006 into 2007, and whenever I get into something, I'm like super obsessed over it. So I remember on my we're talking about MySpace. On my MySpace, I put that I wanted to play guitar in a hardcore band, and this kid, Arno, that just moved here, messaged me, was like, oh, I have this band called Use Your Head. We need a guitar player. Do you want to play? And even though I was super nervous, I said, yeah, let's do it. Practice with him, and that ended up being my first band.
Nice.
So fast forward a year later, I played some shows with Use Your Head, started meeting people in the scene more, and I met this dude, Mike, who saw me at the mall wearing like a hardcore shirt or hoodie or something, and we ended up being friends. And a year later, 2008, we wanted to start a band that's more youth crew-y, like Youth of Today.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was super into this band called The First Step, and we got people together. We got our friend Will to play drums, who's actually the drummer in Restraining Order now. So I've been with Will since 2007 and 8. And we needed a bass player, so everybody played guitar. So someone had to take one for the team, switch to bass, and that was me. And I've been playing bass ever since.
Yep, that's like the most common story of like, you're the bass player now, and it's like, okay, I guess so.
Yep.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of glad because I love it.
Yeah,
people need to put respect on the bass more.
Yeah, I talked to RJ from Drought recently, and we were talking about bass and just like a love of actually playing bass and not like this background instrument.
Yeah, like you can, depending on like the style you're playing, you can do things.
Yeah,
bass can be prominent.
Let's talk about Restraining Order. How'd this band get started?
All right, so 2017. Actually, it was 2016, fall 2016. Me and Pat, the singer. I've known Pat for a while now because just hardcore Connecticut, Western Mass was always very tight. I ended up meeting him. Me and Will from the drummer from Restraining Order. We were always been in like many different bands all at once. Like right now, I'm still in like 10 bands right now. It's kind of crazy, but we always played around with the idea of doing like a fast, like early 2000s, like tear it up, career suicide, just kind of fast style band. Like No Way Records was like Government Warning, like those kind of bands, which in turn just early 80s kind of worship, but we just didn't have the time. And I would always tell Pat, like, yo, me and Will want to do this band. You got to sing. Because I saw him. We both went with this band in Europe. Like, I filled in on bass, and he did merch for them. This band called Caught in a Crowd back in 2014, maybe. Yeah. And he did a cover of Bad Brains with the other band, and he had so much energy. He was just like, yo, we got to do a band. So fast forward 3 years later, me and him made a New Year's resolution of like winter in 2016 at a festival where we saw Career Suicide. We're both moshing, doing our thing, and we're like, yo, we're doing this band. As soon as the new year hits, we're doing it. And we did. Me, Will, and our guitar player Kyle got together, wrote the demo, sent it to Pat. He wrote lyrics. We played our first show shortly into 2017. We didn't even have a name yet. We played like a pizza place in Poughkeepsie called My Place Pizza or My Brother Pizza or something. And the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a fascinating, like listening to the band and to the new record, like it's not like this like oddball hardcore style, but I feel like there's so many directions and so many different genres under the umbrella of hardcore that you don't hear that kind of more punk influence side of it anymore, right? It's way more the Hatebreed, Madball thing these days, or like metalcore influenced, or even like straight up Youth Crew stuff. And so like listening to the record, it's like, oh yeah, this is like, I don't know what it reminded me of, but it's like, it's familiar, right?
Yeah. So like I said in the beginning, we wanted to do like, just like early 80s or in turn early 2000s, like fast hardcore. And, that stuff existed, but like hardcore was so like separated at the time. There's like the hardcore you just described all as one scene, and then the more punk stuff that like didn't want anything to do with that. But we, as hardcore kids, we loved it all. So we're like, we don't care. We're going to play the punk, more of the punk leaning stuff. But all of our friends are more of like the more contemporary hardcore. But we don't care. We just want to play it. And that's kind of was our mentality.
That's awesome. What was the inspiration for the band name?
I think in our group chat, we made a list of names, and that was one of it. I know like the band Out Cold has a song called Restraining Order, and I'm pretty sure that's where it originated from. But we really just, I don't know who proposed that name. There was just like we had like an email, a group email or a group chat with like a whole bunch of names, and we're like, yo, we wanted something that's like punk, like kind of like it's kind of offensive, but like not over the top.
Yeah.
We thought it would be perfect. Restraining Order.
Yeah. Nice. This new record's coming out on Blue Grape, kind of coming from like Triple B Records. What leads you then to Blue Grape, which is a little more diverse a label?
So basically, it was my buddy Jay. Like Jay Reason, shout out Jay Reason. I was talking to him and just telling him about like the band, what we had coming up, and he was like, well, what do you guys want to do? And we're like, we're not sure. We're we've always done Triple B, and we love Triple B. We love Sam, but we kind of want to try something different. Mm-hmm. And he suggested like, well, maybe you should look into Blue Grape. Like, it's definitely going to be different, but it might, it might help you guys, take it to the next step. And sure enough, we're like, all right. I mean, what do we have to lose? Like we planned on recording some demos over the summer anyway, so that kind of led it to the Blue Grape. He was kind of, I think it was Jay and this guy Shep were kind of like the middlemen to bridge us to Blue Grape.
Nice.
And after hearing about, Blue Grape and hearing their backstory or his interest, like we recorded the demos, and Dave from Blue Grape heard them, really, really liked them. We talked to him, and we liked what he was about.
New record's called Future Fortune. I know it's like kind of the song in the middle of the record, but what led to that being the title of this album?
So once again, it's like a group chat thing. We pitching different name ideas, and Future Fortune eventually stuck. At first, we were like Future Fortune. It's kind of like a tongue twister, but at the same time, it's like I feel like it works.
Yeah.
Especially with the aesthetic of like the album art. Like I think it fits really well.
Yeah. I want to ask about the album art because it's definitely a different visual aesthetic from the previous releases. What led to that decision, and who did the artwork for you?
So our really good friend Jeff Polion did the album art, and then our friend Kyle Nyland did the layout and stuff. But for even the record before, the Locked in Time, we kind of wanted like a colorful, like kind of psychedelic, kind of like sci-fi vibe. Locked in Time ended up being kind of along those lines, but a little like more solid color. It was like the yellow stuff.
Yeah.
But we wanted it more like vibrant, So we pretty much pitched that idea again, and like we gave him like Jeff some concepts, like kind of like space and colorful and kind of like the old like I want to say like 60s or 70s like sci-fi books kind of vibe. And he pumped that out, a few different colorways, and the purple, we're like, yo, that's it.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice. I know Pat oversees the lyrical direction of the band. So I'm not going to ask you to like dive into all his lyrics for this record, but as a band, do you ever sit down and go through what he's singing about? Or is it just like, that's his lane, like let him cook however he wants, and like we back him 100%? Or is there like discussions of like, yo, that's whack, we don't like that? Like,
oh no, it's all him, like all creative control. I've always been a fan of Pat's lyrics, even from the demo. Like they're always so catchy. Like even when I'm learning them at practice, I'm already singing along. So
nice.
Like whatever is in his water, like keep it going. But I proofread all of the lyrics on this album, so I actually thoroughly read through all of them.
Okay.
And I love them. Like the way that, like he's told me this, but you can tell like the way he writes, it's just whatever he's feeling, about life and just everything like he deals with life, and he does it kind of in a way that whoever's listening or reading can relate that to their own life, or they can put it into different scenarios in their life, and it's just always like so uplifting because for me personally, I'll listen to a song like No Not or Were You There, etc. And it's just, I don't know, I can relate it to something that makes me happy or sad or, like I love music with emotion, and he does it in a very catchy way. So it's like, bam, bam,
Yeah. Yeah. There seems to have been a shift in hardcore. I mean, it's still there, but it seems like there's been less, the political stance bands into more personal, emotional over the years. And it's I don't know, fascinating to watch that evolution take place. And I don't know how much of that is generational or just the times.
Yeah. I feel like people we don't really have a lot of like actually super politically charged lyrics with us. So, but I feel like people just don't want to offend people.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Whereas back then, like punks and hardcore kids just didn't care. They just they kind of wanted to they kind of wanted to offend people, or they just were so angry. That's like kind of what you did as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the militant, straight edge, and vegan. That stuff impacted me. That I'm vegan, so. But they get up there and be like, "Fuck you" if you eat a hamburger.
Yeah, definitely different times.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, you can get away with a lot more back then without
Yeah,
a million people posting about it on Twitter or Facebook or something.
Oh yeah. Album's out September 12th. You guys are hitting the road. You got a pretty sizable nationwide tour this fall. What's kind of the touring landscape for a hardcore band of your size?
So we joined the agent game for the first time. A lot of people are surprised that we haven't before, but we've always just been super DIY. But for now, it is very helpful because we're all kind of older now. So it's it's organizing tours very not impossible. I could definitely do it, but it's easier when I don't have to, because I have a bazillion other things I have to deal with in my life.
Yeah.
So for us, we're pretty versatile as a band. I mentioned earlier that we just kind of started a band like this because we wanted to. So a lot of the tours we hop on are really diverse because there's not really a lot of bands that play with us that tour a lot. So at least in our world. So I think for now we're just gonna kind of do the support thing.
Yeah.
We're doing some record release shows, so that's gonna be cool on our own. Honestly, to be honest, I'm not really sure what the new year brings.
Yeah.
But I'm down. We're all down. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating looking at the tour dates. I'm in DC, so I saw you guys were playing in DC end of November.
We've never played DC before.
Nice. But I was like, you're playing the Pearl Street Warehouse. I'm like, I've never even heard of this venue. But I'm like, cool. New place to check out, right?
That tour worked out because it's a month after the album comes out.
Yeah.
And Koyo are our good friends. So I feel like it's going to be a good time. They're a cool band. I'm not that familiar with Ben Quad, but they're cool too. And then Leaving Time, they were in a hardcore band before that, so we know those guys too. So it's going to be a good time.